Welcome to the AFCI Beyond Cinema Lounge at Cannes, Mr. Ellis Perez from the Dominican Republic. I like to start at the beginning in terms of film commission experience. What was the job you had before this one?
Well, there are two activities that have occupied most of my life. Originally, I began doing radio when I was 17. Then I went on to television. I was the local reporter for ABC News in the Dominican Republic for a span of 25 years. And the other side of my life is tourism. I began working for a travel agency. Then I went up to be the director of the Dominican Tourist Office in New York. Then I became secretary or minister of tourism. And at some point, I was the first president of the Dominican Republic Tourism Promotion Council for the private sector. So that's basically my background, the media and tourism.
And what made you want to take on this role?
Well, I really didn't want to take it up. It was offered to me by the president, and at some point, President Leonel Fernandez said that Ellis Perez has the perfect profile to be the first commissioner of our country. So he asked me to accept. I left my job. I was vice president for a tourism development in the eastern part of the country for Cap Cana. So I resigned from that job, from the private sector, in order to become the first film commissioner of the Dominican Republic.
And what was the biggest challenge that you thought you were going to have to face as the commissioner?
Well, the law was new. So the law was going to mark a before and after situation for filming in the Dominican Republic. So I was very aware that in order to apply the law and obtain the results we were looking for, it was necessary to make the law well known both nationally and internationally. And to give you a proof of that, just about a month and a half after I was appointed, I got a call from a vice president of a major Hollywood studio. And he said, Mr. Perez, we like your law. We've already looked at it from the internet. It is quite attractive, but my vice president for financing tells me that you are not going to deliver. So I said, well, what can I tell you, sir? I guess only time will tell whether we are serious or not about this. Well, that happened in August of 2011. Just about a month ago, I was in LA, and I met with this gentleman, and the reason for our meeting is that he wanted to meet with me. So that marked the difference. There was no confidence from a major studio a year ago, maybe 10, 11 months ago, but at this point, we have gotten the word around. We have been attending the festivals, we've been promoting ourselves, we're coming up in the major books of the film festivals around the world. So we're getting to be known.
Where are most people coming from to shoot in the DR?
Well, fortunately, we have a variety of film producers making up quite an attractive basket. We have this production from Andy, which is a Canadian-Dominican film. We have people from Spain that are interested in shooting at least 3 or 4 movies this year in the Dominican Republic. One of them will be about the life and times of Julio Iglesias, the famous singer, and that is just about to begin filming any day now. We had a French movie done last January. We have another French movie slated to be done next fall of Studio 37 in Paris. And let me see, we have a number of American movies that should be done, at least 3 or 4 in the course of this year. And besides that, we have a number of Dominican movies that will be just about maybe 50–60% of local I mean of total production for the Dominican Republic this year.
Do you see your job being mainly to encourage and help local filmmakers make their productions, or to attract foreign productions to come shoot?
Well, our law actually has two venues, two ways to travel. One of them is mostly directed to the Dominican producers, and that aspect of the law creates a very attractive fund for financing Dominican movies. And it is that people that have to pay taxes, businesses that have to pay taxes, they can retain as much as 25% of what they have to pay if they invested in the movies. So it's quite attractive for a businessman to retain 25% of what he would have to pay the government and invest it as his own money. Because if he makes a profit, it doesn't go to the government, it goes to himself. That's for the local producers. And for the foreign producers, we say, we will give you back 25% of your local spend, of whatever you spend in the Dominican Republic. We give you back 25% on a transferable tax credit. And that tax credit, to give you an example, Andy Garcia was shooting there in December. It was the first foreign film. We got the entire report from the local producer that assisted or that helped Andy Garcia do his movie there maybe a month and a half ago. Well, we should be giving them their certificate as soon as I get back from here, because it's going to be ready as soon as I get back from Cannes.
Were you prepared for the response that you've had? I mean, really, you've gone from making 2 or 3 movies a year. This year, it looks like you'll make probably about 12 films made either partly or fully in the Dominican Republic.
No, I did not expect it like that. I knew the law was going to be attractive to producers both locally and internationally, but at the same time, I know it takes time for people not only to get the information that the law exists and the details of the law, but it takes time for them to be confident about the application of the law, like the case I told you about with this major studio in Hollywood. Well, it's the same case in the Dominican Republic. Businessmen are not quite so sure that the law is going to be applied as it indicates, so we have to prove it to them. When I get back and we are able to give the Andy Garcia people their certificate, and the first Dominican movie that was made under the incentives of the law, their own certificate. And I'm going to publish this in the Hollywood Reporter and in Variety, and of course in most of the local papers. Besides being a news item, I'm going to use the paid advertising space so that I make certain that it comes out. So that will give confidence to the local producers and to the foreign producers that we mean business and that we are serious about what we are promoting.
There have been
Basically, to respond to your question, we were not ready for the response. That means now my #1 priority is training and education for Dominican young people to get involved in the movie activities and to respond to the need that we now have and we now feel about training people to be grips, to be gaffers, to be assistant directors for photography and for the directors of the film, and everything that it takes.
There's been obviously a lot of production in the last, say, 20 years, everything from, you know, a Godfather 2 a little while ago to, you know, Justin Lin coming and shooting Fast and Furious, and, you know, Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden shooting
Lost
Sugar. Lost City. So there's been some production.
Havana with Redford.
So there's been some production there. Has that given the locals a taste of what it's like to work on these sorts of sets, or do you really have to start afresh and bring in new training and new things from somewhere else?
Well, a lot of these movies were done 10, 15, 20 years ago. It did help our people get involved in major movies. Some of the titles you have mentioned really are. So it was good for us. There's no question about that. That the coming of those film productions was good for Dominican training and for the Dominican people to see in a close-up what a good Hollywood production is all about. And we saw that. We witnessed that, and we somehow participated. There were lots of extras and some actors and actresses that participated in those films, as well as the technical people. So it has been good. It's part of of the heritage that now we have from filmmaking in the 20s. And well, as I've indicated here before, we had 2 movies done in the 20s. There was the first 2, but we didn't make another movie until 1963. Then we had to wait until 1988 to make another movie. It took for us to get to the 90s, 1988, and from then on, and the 90s, for us to do movies on a more continuous way. Until now, now we are going to, as you indicated earlier, I've been saying we're going to do at least 12 or 15 movies. It could be even a little more.
So where is the training coming from?
We had a group of professors from Argentina, from an Argentinian school, come to Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, about 2 months ago. They trained about 40 students, and we just finished a course, an intensive, not basic, but medium level course from the people of the Cuban school, San Antonio, which is a very credited school in filmmaking in all of Latin America and well known worldwide.
It's a little ironic because the Dominican has been used to shoot instead, you know, as a substitute for Cuba on many occasions.
Yeah, it is a little odd, right? But that's the movies. Movies is make-believe. Movies is fantasy. Movies is creativity. So we have been to Cuba many times. One of the things that I'm saying now, because of the new condition that we have, is that our directors and our script writers now have to tend to project the Dominican Republic as itself. You know, this is the main street of Santo Domingo. This is Juanillo Beach in Cap Cana. Identify our own items and not just play for Ecuador. Actually, the Andy Garcia movie that was shot last December there, we were pretending to be Ecuador. It was done in the Dominican Republic. So now we will have the opportunity, having more Dominican movies made, to be able to say, well, this is happening here in Santo Domingo or in Santiago or in Punta Cana or in Puerto Plata, whatever.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on all your success so far, and we look forward to seeing the results very soon.